All right. Test, test. So we're coming up on the hour here. We can find our seats. This guy seems a little quiet. Maybe I'll push him up. All right. Just want to do a general announcement before we get started here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mike Garcia. I'm the new general manager for Spalding CSD. Super excited to have everybody out today to share some information. I see a lot of faces in the crowd I've seen before and other ones I haven't. So welcome. We appreciate you guys being here and participating. If we do need extra chairs, we can absolutely grab some more chairs too. So just raise your hand and we can get that going. For our speakers today, we are recording the video so we can post it for the folks that can't be here. They can view it on YouTube at their leisure, but they will not be able to hear anything you say if you do not have a microphone. That goes for anybody in the crowd too. When we get to public comment, I'm gonna be walking around with this microphone, and we can make sure we're speaking into it so the video stays clear and everybody knows what's happening. And if anybody that's going to be speaking a lot needs a microphone, we do have a couple extras we can get for you, so we're not sharing. That being said, again, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll turn it over to Scott.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody for coming. This was going to be a neighborhood watch meeting, but we kind of bypassed that because we have two special guests today. Very honored to have the Sheriff of Lassen County, John McGavran, and Supervisor Mike Scanlon. They're both going to do a talk, give you guys some information on the county, what's happening in the county, and that type of thing. And then we're going to have a Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, just hold them until we can get to the Q&A, and we'll go from there. That's about all I have. We're going to start the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, I'm not sure which one of you want to talk first or how you want to do it, but it's all yours.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? This is going to take some getting used to. So normally I'm accused of being loud enough without a microphone, so it's usually not a problem. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John McGarva. I'm your Lassen County Sheriff Coroner. I've been the sheriff since 2024. I took over for Sheriff Groudon when he retired. And I'd like to take an opportunity. I know some of you may have seen me at various meetings you've had over the last couple of years. I definitely I take a deep interest in what goes on in all of our communities. And quite frankly, sometimes it's just nice to get out of Susanville and see some people that, out in the world. So I'm very big on a lot of things, but a couple housekeeping things. So the young lady in the back in Sheriff's Polo shirt is Bridget Skillingstad. She is one of my community services officers. There are question cards and comment cards in the back that she has, and pens if you guys need them for later. I also will be taking questions through, so if something sparks you, you don't have to try and remember it. Just hit me with your hand, and I'll try and get you there. I have a couple of flyers regarding recent projects that the Sheriff's Office worked on. One is on license plate readers, and the other is on a wolf management plan that the county recently approved at the Board of Supervisors back in, just last week. So I'm here to go over a few things. I do have an agenda of topics I would like to talk about first. I definitely want to talk about your Sheriff's Office and what's going on there. At the Sheriff's Office right now, I have I'm allotted about 100 employees, both sworn and support. On my patrol division, I'm staffed up, but I'm 6 deputies short of full staff. And we're working on that right now. I have one gentleman that's going to graduate from the police academy next week. So you'll start seeing him out on the road a little bit. He'll be on field training in the middle of June. You'll start seeing him around. And then I have another deputy that's going to be attending the Butte Law Enforcement Academy starting in July. He should finish up hopefully in December if everything goes according to plan. We are working hard to develop and recruit our people at the Sheriff's Office. We have several divisions. We have patrol, we have custody, dispatch, civil, and Ms. Skillingstad back there works in my youth services division that goes out to all the schools and teaches everything from substance abuse to teen dating to you name it, vape, tobacco, whatever it is. And I'm going to get to some of that a little later when I talk about some of the school stuff and school safety things we're working on. I have a county jail. Its capacity is 228 people, 228 occupants. In that division, I am short just under 10 deputies for running that jail, which is about a third of the staff that short that I need for occupying it. We are continuously in recruitment, so if you know of anybody that's looking for a job, have them come down and see me if they got experience in law enforcement, or I have people that come in that are retired and just look for something to do. They come down and say they come down and work part-time for me. I appreciate it, or volunteer somewhere in our offices. We're always looking for good people to come around and help us. We have a lot of operational things going on. Memorial weekend is upon us. I made a pass through here. I see you guys are already starting to see the influx. A lot of people moving in, some lots getting cleaned up, which I always like to see. Memorial weekend will start. I have 2 deputies that will be assigned up here this year for your boating. It'll be Jim Updegrove, who you guys have seen over the last several years. And you might have seen him towards the end of last year, a gentleman named Greg Berry. He'll be around patrolling some of the lake on the boats this year. There is a targeted thing, and I know last year Deputy Updegrove was having to write citations regarding boat ID cards, and that was kind of an issue that ended up on my desk. And unfortunately, our grant is tied directly to that. Very rarely do I say that we have to enforce quotas, but they were very clear that if they did not see enforcement on the boater IDs, they would take away our grant money, and I wouldn't have any boating around. So it was kind of I kind of had to go down that road. But we're looking forward to a very successful boating safety year. I think this year is going to be a real good year. It's nice to see some people coming up here. I see the lakes, got some water on the north end, at least up to the ramp, where you guys can at least use it maybe for a little while. I'm not sure how that's going to work for you, but and how long that's going to be the case. So we are working hard on things at the sheriff's office. We are moving things along. We have some things going on in our jail, and we have some projects we're going to be working on throughout the year. We've had saturation patrols that have been in every area of the county through as ironic as it is, we're doing DUI enforcement from money from a cannabis grant. They're paying us to arrest them for being under the influence. It's great. It comes from it comes from tax money and different things that different revenue streams that flow into that. But because of that, we were able to buy some vehicles, get some good training for people to magnify and be more proactive on DUI enforcement, and get out and try and get those people off the roadway. So we are making a targeted enforcement. We've done 10 targeted patrols, and we even did our first ever DUI checkpoint this year. So that was a new experience for us. I don't know that we're going to do that one again, but hey, we gave it a shot. I might leave that one in the capable hands of the Highway Patrol. So this thing is driving me insane. So we've talked about some things about the sheriff's office. Another thing that has really changed this last year or two is concealed weapons permits and how they're being issued. Things like Senate Bill 2 and AB 1078 that were passed by the legislature. I'm sure you guys are all aware California really loves gun owners, and they really want to make it easier for you to get guns, right?
Yeah.
Not even close. There are days I'm even shocked at the lengths that the state has gone to make sure that gun ownership is the most difficult thing in the world. So SB 2 passed a few years back regarding certain places that are sensitive. You can and cannot carry guns. That list was again narrowed down, and if you have questions about those, I'm happy to answer that. But they call them sensitive places, and really what they tried to do is, since they couldn't take your guns away, they were going to regulate where you could carry the guns. And the courts decided, based on the Second Amendment, that that's probably not going to work out. There are some things that, private property type institutions like amusement parks and zoos, where they can control those things, or stores, where they can prevent you from going in. But they even tried to go the reverse route, where if you owned a store, ma'am, and you wanted to allow people to carry firearms in the store, you actually had to put up a sign saying, please bring your firearm with you. I mean, so there was some discussion about that, about can you really tell people what to do with their own property, right? And I don't know if you're a proponent or not, but I use you examples. Thank you. So it's that's kind of the direction this went. But some changes that are going to affect how you guys are able to get CCWs. First one is a good one. We are now, so in June, we will be going through a program called Permitium, which will allow you to do your renewal and your initial applications, schedule live scans and stuff online. So you won't have to come to Susanville and do those applications for renewal or initial anymore. You will be able to pay with a credit card. You won't have to trouble to go to get a money order and go through that route to do those things. There'll be a service fee for doing it that goes to Permitium, but we're not raising our fees at the sheriff's office. So you might see a nominal fee of about $6-7 for a credit card fee, which you're paying about anywhere now for anything anyway. But this way, you don't have to drive all the way into town. just to give us your renewal paperwork. Another change that's come on, and these are not great changes. One of the changes is there's no longer a grace period for renewal. Once you are expired, it's as if you never had a permit ever. And you have to go through the initial process from start to finish all the way again. Now, we are streamlining some things at the sheriff's office to try and make that easier, but I actually tried to push a few through to see if I can get it done, and the Department of Justice kicked them back, saying they had to be initials and not renewals. I'm going to make sure that process is streamlined. There's definitely going to be some things I can bypass on my end. Like, I don't need to interview you if you've had a CCW and you just let it lapse and it's within recent memory, not 20 years ago, but a year ago or something. Then I can waive some of those things at an office level, and there's nothing they can say about that. So I am going to try and streamline it where I can, but there's some things legally that I'm stuck with and I can't get around, and Department of Justice does seem to be one of them. They get a little cranky when I sidestep them. And then it's really important to get that renewal done on time. It goes from being an 8-hour class to a 16-hour class. It goes from essentially being legal to you're now a felon if you let it lapse and have it carried concealed. They've really strengthened the laws regarding to how they're going to approach people who don't have these permits in place. So I've been encouraging everybody that if you have a permit and you get about 16 months into your 2-year period, you really need to start thinking about getting your renewal done. Get into the class, get it to me ahead of time. That way we don't have to worry about it. And renewals, I love to see you, but you don't have to come see me. So you can, you get it all done online. You won't even have to go to town. We'll mail you your permit. And some of the weird part of this, and because of SB2 and some court decisions, it's actually easier, as troubling as this, it's easier as a non-resident to get a permit in California than it is if you're a resident of California. So there's some litigation going through on that now. I'm sure we're going to talk about ATVs here in a minute. So I'm like, that's a little too ominous that occurred. But so non-residents don't have to come see me. They can see me by Zoom or by phone. They can do everything by mail. They can do their shooting class within 75 miles of the house. I can't make them go to they just have to meet California requirements for the class. You all have to come see me in person, turn in your stuff in person, up until next month when I got you online. But I still have to see you in person. I still have to interview all the references. So if you live in Nevada, it's actually easier for you to get a permit in California than if you live in California. So, well, at least not one's got taillights. So we're working hard to try and do that. I know there's some litigation pending regarding trying to make that even, where residents shouldn't have a harder time than those who don't live here. So we'll hear more about that eventually down the road. So we talked about CCWs. Any questions on CCWs, or are we going to wait till the end for questions?
Yeah, whatever you like.
Well, it's whatever you like. I'm here for them.
There you go.
Hold on. He's got to low jack you first.
What about open carry?
Open carry?
Open carry.
Still not legal in California.
It is not
No.
legal.
We are not an open carry state. They've made that very clear in California. So.
So if I'm driving down the road, get pulled over, and I have my gun in my passenger seat.
Oops.
Well, it depends. Are they going to be wearing a black uniform like mine? Maybe.
Maybe.
Then you must have worked to get pulled over. But so it happens. So what I tell people is if they're contacted by law enforcement and there's a firearm in the vehicle, we appreciate it if you tell us there's a firearm in the vehicle. Hopefully we see it if it's on the passenger seat. If they don't see it, please call me because I have a different issue to address with that particular deputy now. But we try hard to, I can't say this another way. We work hard at the sheriff's office to not screw good people over. So it's probably be a discussion of proper safety, proper, hey, you need to either get a permit or it needs to be unloaded when you're coming down the road. Probably be an education segment the first time. Obviously, if we pull someone over, and not that you would ever do this, ma'am, and they are less than friendly with us, then you probably get a different response from the deputy. Yes, and I encourage my guys to be they're cordial with the public, they're professional, but at the end of the day, if you get a ticket or something out of us, you probably bought and paid for it. So I would say just make sure you're communicative with the deputy, let them know where it's at, and in case they don't see it, something may have fallen over it or something. Tell them you have a weapon in the car. Tell them where it's at and follow instructions the officer gives you, your deputy gives you. And normally we'll be okay. We don't, most of us know that, especially those that are CCW holders, we tend to know that the criminals don't go through legal processes to carry firearms. I know it's weird, right? So we realize all of the steps it takes to get a CCW, how difficult that is. Law-abiding citizens are the only ones that go through that process. So we tend to recognize, at least put on a helmet, man. So oh, I got a pretty good idea. I'll find him in a little bit, but
We got an address if you need it.
yeah, those are difficult subjects. It's rare when I'm hearing that happens.
Yeah.
Normally they see the big black Tahoe outside or a county car or something, and they just don't come by. But now apparently we're gonna do this differently. Well, I'm gonna talk to my guys about working on that a little bit. I know it's primarily CHP's responsibility to handle UTVs, but we will try and help. We'll try to be present and help out where we can. I have a deputy that's assigned to the North County now. His name's Derek Kennemore, and we're kind of getting him lined out on, what the expectations are for Big Valley, Madland Plains. It's a lot of area to cover, but we also understand that it's important that we address some of these issues that are a concern. But back to CCWs, sir. Hold on, he's got a low jack you too.
Test.
Oh, I don't think it's for me. It's for the recording.
What I'm curious about is for veterans, do you have anything special for them as far as CCW?
So there actually isn't a veteran CCW. It's all one CCW. I don't have anything I don't have anything legally I can do to cut things on veterans and stuff like that. I do know that there are times where fees can be addressed and different things like that. But if you work through the veteran services officer, he might be able to point you down the road for that. But I don't specifically have anything. No, I'd love to, but there's no mechanism in the law currently for that. But I will look into that because it's probably something we should be looking at.
I hear a little bit about it here and there.
It's something that it comes up. We always ask the questions like that at our conferences we go to and try to address those things, but no one's actually come up with a concrete way of doing it that's really held up. And which is unfortunate, right? I mean, between veterans and seniors, we should be able to, work that out. And for some reason, we just can't, but it's something I'll definitely look into. I'll make sure that, Bridget just took that note for me. So she'll remind me. She keeps me pretty squared away. She's been working for me for 5 years now? Oh, man. Feels like 15. I mean,
Time flies when you're having fun.
So she keeps me pretty squared away. She's worked for me in various capacities.
Hi, I have a CCW from Mendocino County.
Yes.
Sheriff Matt Kendall requiring any contact with law enforcement that he be informed personally. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know about any form of contact. If you have negative form of contact where you get arrested, a ticket, something like that, then yeah, I'm probably going to find out anyway because I have it all recorded in a computer system. But I would appreciate it if you reached out and let me know. We had a guy that ended up losing his permit because he got a DUI in Nevada, and he never said a word until I got his permit in the mail from Washoe County. There was a gentleman back there that had a question. So I'd appreciate the contact.
So my question is, what about if you have residences in 2 spots, but your majority here? Where do we apply?
Here.
Okay.
All right. We good on CCWs? Wow, that was quick for a CCW conversation. I can usually suck up 30 minutes on that. We talked about some new legal updates, talked about things with CCWs. I do have a whole track on juveniles and schools, but I'm not sure if that's what this community wants me to key on. I feel like that there's some other loud, annoying thing that keeps driving by that you guys might have on your mind. So we can talk about some UTV law. Dirt bikes. Well, let's start with all of them. So first of all, I'm not looking to restrict anybody's enjoyment of the outdoors. I'm a sportsman myself. I'm an avid outdoorsman. I am out all the time. However, I am into restricting people's unsafe use of equipment in the outdoors. We go to calls every year where someone is drunk or unsafely piloting an all-terrain vehicle and they dump it. They put it on their head, they roll it over, somebody gets hurt, they hit something, or they're unsafe driving and then they're causing traffic hazards. So the vehicle, CHP is the primary vehicle enforcement agency in California. I think everybody here knows that. I always check our stats before we come up here because these things always come up. And I don't get a lot of calls about it because mainly it goes to Highway Patrol. I know that. However, I do tell our guys when they're here, they need to be looking for it. I just drove around looking for it, and that guy didn't drive by when I was driving around. I got a site book still. I mean, I might find it, but I have one. So the answer is dirt bikes, safety. I've gotten a lot of complaints here since I took office regarding people hauling, I think I heard up to 70 miles an hour on the Strand, which would be amazing, right? That's a lot of speed on the Strand. Pretty sure if you're doing 70, you're probably out in the middle of the lake somewhere at that point. However, it's still a high rate of speed, right? High rates of speed, even, 40, 50 miles an hour. That speed limit is posted at 25. And if you're on an ATV, UTV, and you're on the side of the road driving slowly, just trying to get to the woods, we do this in Westwood too, probably not going to be a huge law enforcement issue. It's going to be the guy going by here just now. That would be an example of something I would probably go deal with. But if you're just trying to get to the BLM land or the Forest Service land, I'm not looking to be. I see a couple side by sides out here. There's most of them look like that one out there I'm looking at. Looks like it's probably street legal or close to it. I'm not looking to jack up people, but I also am not going to allow people to cause safety issues for others. That's something we don't allow. So your answer to dirt bike would be depending on how you're riding it. Are you being safe about it? Are you being cautious? Are you being aware of your surroundings and your community? Or are you being like I was when I was a juvenile and screaming down the road and doing everything I wasn't supposed to do? So that would be the question. Excellent.
There we go.
Yeah. Perfect. Hey. If it makes you feel better, my daughter just started driving and everybody tells me what she's doing. I know, and I have her low jacked on her phone, don't get me wrong, but I don't have to. Because I got a list of people calling and telling me what that truck's doing, how fast it's going, if it broke the speed limit. Oh yeah, cops' kids, man. My daughter has sympathy for you. She gets it. So, just to me, it's all about how you're doing it. I'm a very case by case cop. I tend to take each incident, evaluate it, and take the appropriate action based on what the people are doing then. I don't believe in black and white. I think there's always gray area. There's always an education piece. I believe in educating, and if that doesn't work, I've always told people that if the warning's not going to work or the lecture's not going to work, I'm just going to write you the ticket and we can discuss it somewhere else. I don't get in arguments on the side of the road with people. I'm very, and I tell my guys not to do the same thing. We're not here to get in an argument with people. We're here to do a job and do it as safely and efficiently as possible that meets the community's needs. So I open the floor to questions on UTVs besides your dirt bike. And I'm sorry, you get to go nowhere. Sounds like you're going to be trailering that dirt bike.
Test.
Hold on, let him get to you.
So there's normal gas dirt bikes. Are there any different restrictions up here for electric dirt bikes or e-bikes?
They're held to the same speed and vehicle restrictions as anything else, but e-bikes have become so this is not just a topic here. This has been a topic across the state when I've been at different conferences, is the use of e-bikes in unsafe manners. Because those things can crank out more speed than I thought they could. I didn't realize how fast you can go on one of those. And that's without even pedaling. One of my personnel was joking that their kid was doing 30 miles an hour and never cranked a pedal on one the other day. And it's like, wow, I had no idea. So it's going to be the same thing. Safety, helmets, speed. Bikes are still held to the same legal restrictions and road rules as anything else. Doesn't matter if it's motorized or not. So even if you're pumping your Schwinn going up and down the Strand and you're riding down the wrong side of the road, you can still be ticketed for riding on the wrong side of the road. Now, I've been a cop a long time. And I've never seen that ticket get written, but it's possible. You could probably talk your way into one if you worked hard enough. So, not you personally.
So people most likely aren't going to get in trouble if they're riding respectfully, like they have full face helmets on and they're wearing the proper gear and they're riding safely and respectfully.
I agree. I think that for the most part, if you're being respectful and you're safe, your neighbors aren't, you're not angering everybody. You're not cranking up dirt. You're not spinning around, doing Brodies in the middle of the dirt area. You're not tearing things up. You're being respectful to those around you. Usually they will be, usually they're the same way back. However, if push comes to shove, you still got to remember that those things probably, they're still by the book are not legal on the roadway, right? It's 38025, an OHV vehicle on a highway. So, try to remember that, because if you're not respectful, then it's really easy for us to come and deal with that. Now, unfortunately, it's an infraction and we have to be present, for that to the citation. But I know, because I just heard him doing it, you got a Forest Service cop right here with State Peace Officer Authority. If you're too much of a knucklehead, I'm pretty sure he's going to deal with you. I know my people are going to deal with you. So, and I don't mean to target you personally, but you're asking the question.
Yeah, I'm not tearing up dirt roads like I've been.
I hope not. Your dad sounds like he's going to handle that.
I'm not tearing up the dirt roads or any of that in the track. I'm going maximum 25.
Okay. So
he also has a tracker on me, so he can see how fast I go.
Excellent. That's even better than anything I can do. So we are going to try and address some of these things. Definitely I want to educate people before I just start signing people up. But anybody that does what I just saw going through here, there's probably not much of an education piece. Yes. You're doing 45 in here, that's a different problem. I might charge you with reckless driving depending on how you're doing it. Especially if there's people out walking, which I saw plenty of as I drove around. Ma'am.
Multiple ATV events up here, which is normal. It's a recreational community.
Yes.
You have the so many of those vehicles that we see go by our house have the spark arresters removed.
Really?
They'll rev it. You can see sparks coming out.
Are they California or are they out of state? Do you know?
Do they have license plates? No.
Well, no, but some do have off-highway secret. They'll have California ones have the green stickers on them, where they're supposed to, or they're in violation. So.
See, on the paved roads, I'm not seeing plates on them or any identifiers. I have no idea where they're from.
Okay.
They go way too fast on most of our roads are dirt roads here. And last year we had an ATV go by not a lot, because lots here are small, but a large section from our house on a road, and they went so fast, they threw dirt on the laundry on my line.
Okay.
It's crazy. I have to push my clothes.
I know for the AT events up here, we normally have personnel up here assigned to work those. So what I can do is I can assign when they're up here working.
Hey.
When they're up here working, I can try and I can have them check those vehicles out and make sure they're legal to be doing what they're doing, because they're not supposed to be in the woods without a spark arrestor anyway, because it causes fire.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of our roads have unmaintained.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm concerned about that as a homeowner.
Okay. That's not a problem at all. So when we're up here working those events, I'm happy to have our guys have a look at everything and make sure they're legal to be out. So.
I mean, a lot of these people come from other places. They don't have a lot of respect. We don't know who to call. You call State Patrol, they say call you. You call you, they don't say.
So we actually have an off-highway vehicle program that's granted through Cal State Parks that actually goes towards prevention and enforcement of OHV laws. That's why we're out at these ATV events. So that's not a problem at all. So when they come out, our OHV sergeant is Sergeant Tim Heffley. So I can remind him that, we need to make sure our guys are checking to make sure they've got the legal equipment, the things they're supposed to have on these things before they're out running around. That's not a problem at all.
So your position, if they are driving down Spalding Road and they're unlicensed or without license plates, that you're not going to do anything about that, right?
No, I don't think I said that at all. I said I would evaluate the situation and see if it could be done. Be case by case.
So if somebody calls, you guys can't get up here fast enough to do anything about it. So then what?
unfortunately, I can't enforce an infraction if it didn't occur in my presence. That's the law. Well, you can send it to me, but I still can't because it's not considered by the courts to be in my presence.
So basically.
But you can send
can't
it
do
to us and
anything.
we can start looking. What we can do is if we can identify the person, is we can go over there and talk to them about their unsafe things. Now, I might not be able to write a ticket on it, but I could still go over and do some prevention and education on it. So saying I can't do anything isn't, I wouldn't say that. It just, I wouldn't be able to necessarily, give them a present, so to speak.
Yeah, my question is just because there were 17 that came by the house down Spalding Road the other day.
17.
17, and they were respectfully driving.
Okay.
I'm not going to say they weren't. They had, it was a whole mixed bag. Some were legal, some were not, some were, driving very carefully, which I applaud. But a couple of years ago, when they implemented this as a designated OHV rec area,
Mhm.
they were told that they were not supposed to be on the main roads other than the Strand in Spalding. So I'm just trying to figure out, because there are people complaining all the time.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to figure out what actually is going to happen and how it's supposed to happen.
So, couple things. So, I've tried. I know that traffic enforcement is CHP's primary responsibility. That doesn't mean we don't help them or that we won't come up and do anything when we can. So, I encourage you to still call and ask to talk to a sergeant if you get that, and then we can talk about it. And if they're not getting your way, then you keep climbing because that's not the instruction I give them. So. I see it now.
I just wanted to say one thing. I'm a former police officer. This is one of the only free areas in the state. If people are driving respectfully, see, every law is another restriction on somebody else's rights. And if people are doing stuff respectfully and they're not tearing up the forest, like I have a problem right now. Like you come in the 21 road and it looks gutted from winter, from people just like ripping up and doing stuff. Nobody belongs on that road when it's wet, when it's all trashed up. They need to be respectful because then we're going to end up with pipe gates. It's going to look like Tahoe and it's not going to be great for anybody. My grandma ran a clothesline when I was a kid. That's why there's That's why there's a 10-minute limit in my family. I've been up here since the 70s. My family's had a place here since 1980 that my uncle now occupies that my grandpa built. And I've got a place here. My cousin Robert's a fishing guide here. It has a spot. But it's one of those things where if somebody's doing something or they're giving you lip, you come over and you talk to your neighbors. I'll go and talk to somebody even if they're busy. And I'll do stuff and explain it to them. But we want to have our rights intact. Like this is a good sheriff. We have an excellent sheriff. We have somebody that's pro doing the job, that's reasonable, that wants to respect people's rights. And as a law enforcement officer and a former one, I was a cop in Oakland. My first call was a murder in 1999. I've worked in Martinez PD. He's wearing a shirt from K9. I've worked for Contra Costa County too. So I've had that, but I'm just telling you, we want to be appreciative of these guys and how awesome they are for just even giving us the chance and Forest Service for giving us a chance to have freedoms and stuff like that. The only other question I had is he has an electric bike. That's why he's asking about stuff.
Okay.
And I have tried with DMV. I got it. It had a 17 number VIN. I've taken it to the DMVs in the Bay Area. I took it up here and nobody knew what to do with it in the last 3 years. I think they're starting to, but I have been unable to get a green sticker. Like it's killing me. And at first they were like, you don't have to, when everybody thought they were e-bikes. And there's a separation between not like a pegged e-moto and e-bikes. And I don't know if there's anything that you guys can do or any help with getting that, but it's been absolutely impossible for us to get green stickers.
And it's possible they just don't have a mechanism in place to do that yet. It's one of those things I know California is really good at is they put something in place and then don't put anything in to actually do it. So that's kind of the thing. I know this lady up here had a question. Mm-hmm.
There's no law against dust getting on your clothes.
They're going way too fast.
I have, if that was the case, my kids would be in prison if they had dust on their clothes. But you're right. It's disrespectful as all get out. The speed issue is the thing, because there's a prima facie speed limit in this area. So they should be slowing down, but even at that, you're still going to kick up some level of dust. You're right. So as dry as it's going to be this year, we're going to have all sorts of problems with dust, smoke, hopefully not fire. So yeah, I'm going like that every day.
What about golf carts?
Yeah, I was just talking to Bridget about that. We drove by and there's the most tricked out golf cart, headlights, tail lights. Is that the one that's out here?
Pink sticker on it.
I don't know that there's really any mechanism for golf carts. They talk about OHV vehicles. They talk about, dirt bikes. There's some talk about e-bikes now that's coming forward. But golf carts seem to be the elusive thing that there's nothing on. I don't know. I've seen plenty of golf cart wrecks. I mean, I've seen some great wrecks at the golf course from people that have maybe enjoyed a little too much good time on the turn. But yeah, I've seen some souped up golf carts. Those are pretty cool. But there's really nothing on the books regarding golf carts themselves. Obviously, if they're making a nuisance out of themselves and they're doing things they're not supposed to do, then that could be addressed for driving unsafely. And I guess by pure definition, they're probably an unlicensed vehicle upon the roadway, but are they considered a vehicle by the vehicle code? And that would be something I would actually have to look up to be sure. And I've seen them in some places where they are, but yeah. The one I saw has all of it. It was the most legal golf cart I've ever seen in my life.
I looked it up on the internet, and the internet said that you can only be on a road if the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. It's all up here.
Yes.
Has to have a rear view,
Mhm.
has to have brakes,
That's a good thing.
turn signals, and as long as it has all that stuff, it says it can be legal on the road. You cannot go on a road though that the speed limit is over 25 miles.
I wouldn't recommend that anyway.
Well, mine won't go over.
Yeah. Well, I've seen what people do on A1, and I don't know that I'd want to be on something doing 25 on that road. So, man, you got a lot of questions. I like
So,
it. Inquisitive.
Actually, for the sir with the golf cart, I can say you can actually get them plated if you wanted to. If it has the turn signals and all this stuff, you just have to go to the DMV and you can register it like any other vehicle. Many people in the town of Danville, where we have our house in the city, a ton of people will drive golf carts on the street. Some of them aren't plated, but police don't really care about the golf carts for some reason. But most people, you can get them plated if they have all the reasonable stuff. And about the OHVs, I think it's very disrespectful if somebody goes by going above 10 on a dirt road. Like, they should not be kicking up a ton of dirt. I think that they should probably do something about it.
I do know, and to the lady's point, being a jerk is not against the law. If it was, I'd have a full jail. So, unfortunately, there's some things that law enforcement is not really the tool to answer, I guess. There are, but we don't generally deal in the civil realm. Absolutely. There are different ways to go about it, but unfortunately, it might not be through the sheriff's office for that particular issue. Hold on, he's coming with the microphone. You gotta wait.
I've seen when they come down my road sometimes, and you can look in where they're driving, and they're just glug 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 chugging down the there while they're driving. But the most disgusting thing that happens is when they throw the liquor bottles down on my road. That infuriates me. It doesn't make me happy. That's something that needs to be addressed. And it's
Okay.
form.
No problem. Okay, so a couple other things we got at the sheriff's office, because I know the Supervisor Scanlon has a few things he wants to talk about as well, so I don't want to take up all of his time. But we've got a few new purchases at the sheriff's office. We're in the process of replacing our HVAC system at the jail. It's a 35-year-old building. It's a brick building with swamp coolers, so you can imagine the effect that a non-breathing swamp cooling building has. So we're happy to get that done this year. We also are getting a new a Bearcat for our office. And we traditionally up until now, you may have seen it driving around for different reasons, but we have a mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicle, which is extremely huge, extremely cool, and extremely unpractical. So but it's really cool. I mean, it looks cool, but we got it from the base as part of a military property program, and it's just, it's got 6-foot high tires on it. Someone like me can damn near walk under the thing. It's not the most practical for around areas like this. Like getting it up and down through here would be almost impossible. Some of the side streets. We had some issues with the hydraulic door where the hydraulic broke, and that's a 400-pound door, so it takes 2 guys to get it open. So there's some things like that. Then someone told me about a video where someone got stuck in the door and it about chopped them in half. I'm like, okay, you got it. So we have some new vehicles coming. We have our DUI program I talked about. We have our youth services officer that Miss Bridget back there's a part of. They go to the schools. They talk about everything from teen dating to substance abuse and vapes, tobacco, which are a huge issue in our schools right now with the vapes, Zins, tobacco, and then everything from there all the way up through a school safety program where I have personnel that go out and evaluate schools for school safety as far as active shooter type incidents or emergency response, and help train teachers on how to react in the situation, what they need to do, and assist with that training and review safety plans. So we have a very robust school safety program. We're always looking at expanding it. We've dabbled into the truancy realm to make sure kids are getting into school. So in fact, actually, that's another thing Bridget does for me is she's in charge of that truancy program. And it's really been effective. And we really haven't sent many people to SARB or anything like that. But what we have done is been able to connect them with the resources they need to get their kids back into school and where they belong. And we're looking at expanding that program further. We're looking to add personnel and funding so that way we can, make that a more universal program and almost a wraparound type feel as far as getting kids back in school where they need to be. Because we all know that kids that don't graduate high school have more likely chance of visiting me in my facility than they do being successful in their lives. So we really have an investment in our community and trying to move things forward. I talked a little bit about our deputy recruit program. Most of our deputies are homegrown Lassen County residents, grew up here. They want to be here. They started in my jail. They've worked their way up. We put them through the academy, and they want to be here, and they want to contribute to the community that raised them. So we haven't had such a high turnover in the last few years because of that program, because the guys that work for me have an investment in being here and in the community. So we're really happy with how that program is and how robust it is. So I think that's about the end of what I have. I tend to feed off more of what the community wants to hear from us. Oh, there's a lady in the corner over here.
Yeah, hang on.
Hold on. So I think he wants you to repeat the question so the people at YouTube can hear it.
You're going to have somebody up here on a regular basis to patrol our neighborhood.
So it's hard to say this without saying it the wrong way. I can't force someone to live here. No, but I'm trying to answer your question. So as I know, for a long time here, you guys had, Frank Martins, he lived here, wanted to be in the community, lived here. When I started, they could still tell us where we're going to live. And about a couple years into that, and I've been around 25 years, a couple years into that, the court said you can't do that anymore. So I always encourage people, we have one deputy that's assigned to the north end of the county, but not specifically to this community. So he's got a lot of ground to cover. And during the summer, we're continuing to work on that. As we get people hired and pushed through, we can build that program back up. We hit a critical staffing level over the last couple of years where really I was almost centralized to having to respond to everybody out of Susanville, which is not what I want to see. I want guys out in the communities out here. Usually during the day, we're in the office. I'm in the office. I have captains. I have lieutenants, sergeants. There's people around that can handle calls locally. So I really have made a push to try and get people pushed out, whether it's here, Beaver, Westwood, Doyle, make sure that they get out to those areas. So the answer is I'm trying, but I don't know how quick I'll be successful, but it is something I'm striving for. I just haven't been successful yet. And as my daughter likes to say, the power of yet.
Probably 4 months. I would say 4 months. I have seen more.
He's trying so hard. I give him credit.
can't watch the video, they're going, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm back and forth to Susanville, back block. And in the last, I would say 4 months, I have seen more highway patrol up here and more sheriff up here than I have in year, 2. I mean, there's been a lot of highway patrol and sheriff up here. I saw one pass today. I've seen 2 highway patrol. So I've seen them here in the last 4 months more than I have in many years.
Well, that's good because they're supposed to be visible and supposed to be heading up this way. And I know for the Highway Patrol office, they actually have more personnel in that office than they've had ever. They have a lot of new personnel that are learning the area. There's vehicles everywhere. I mean, especially like if you go to Reno on 395, if you don't pass 3 or 4, they need to be out there with everything going down on that road right now. That is a very dangerous stretch of roadway. And as summer progresses and the need comes up here, you'll see more and more cops up here. And sometimes cops do get shifted to where the need is the greatest. And unfortunately, sometimes the smaller communities do suffer. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's not true. At least I would hope you would not allow me to say that. So I appreciate that my guys are being seen. I'm going to make sure that they're seen more often too. All right. Anything else for me? Yeah, you guys are an easy crowd. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'll be around till at least another hour while Supervisor Scanlon talks.
Really hoping not to talk for an hour. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Scanlon. I'm the supervisor for District 1 up here. I cover Spalding, but I also cover Westwood, Gold Run, Clear Creek, and out towards Reading on Highway 44. So it's a pretty big district. I really appreciate the Neighborhood Watch letting us kind of hijack their meeting. And I think Neighborhood Watch is a really good organization. And I can't encourage you enough to maybe get involved in that. I think that when more people are involved, better things happen. And so I would just kind of give them that plug. But I really appreciate working with the local community service district. And I see some of the board members here, and I appreciate working with you and you working with me. Just a couple things just to let you know. I've been on this job now for about a year and a half, and it's been a tremendous learning experience. And I want to just kind of run down a few things. While I've been in office, I helped initiate the live streaming of the Board of Supervisors meetings. So that like your meetings, it's a fairly new thing, but basically you can watch those meetings live when they're taking place in case you don't want to drive all the way to Susanville. Or you can look at it later in the archives and see exactly what's happening. And so that's been a good thing. And this last year, I helped pass the 2025-26 budget, which included additional funding for the DA's office. And for the first time in a while, the DA is not only fully funded, but fully staffed. And so that's going to help with the prosecution of a number of different things that are taking place. I helped secure funding and contract approval for the Pinetown Road in Westwood, which has been a long fight. It's been like 5 or 6 or 8 years maybe to try and get that done. And we're on the verge of actually getting it paid. But my next area of focus, honestly, is A1. I've met with several constituents complaining about A1 and talking about the different issues related to that. And I was just recently appointed to the Lassen County Transportation Commission. And I pointedly got onto that commission so that I could influence the direction that it's going to go. And my next focus is trying to get A1 repaved and repaired and stuff. And so I know that's an issue. I'm enjoying being the county supervisor, but I have to tell you, I'm one of 5 guys. And so, you know, getting it done is always, government moves so slow, it's pathetic. I wish I was king of the county and then I could fix some stuff faster. But that's a work in progress. The county has actually implemented a new accounting system And so that's facilitating a lot of things in terms of we can see where our money's going and how to plan for the future, those kinds of things. Hopefully some of you recognize me from being at your community service district meetings. I've made it a point to come out at least every other month, if not sometimes every month, and try and just present myself, be here for anyone who wants to talk. I get a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls from Spalding about different issues. And when the phone rings, I answer it. And if you've emailed me, you already know I email you back. And so I try to be responsive to your needs. And you guys have issues, obviously, but I've been spending a lot of time in Westwood as an example. And their issues with the transients and homeless people and illegal camping and trailers and on vacant lots, that kind of stuff, has been dramatic. And I know that you guys are starting to see some of those things. And that's why we have code enforcement out here with us this afternoon. They're going to be able to answer some of your questions as well, because they have the expertise in that area. But we are starting to see more of those kinds of things happen. And I've tried to be responsive to that in terms of getting a hold of the right resources and stuff. There's issues in the county that go beyond the Spalding area, like not only our infrastructure just in general with the roads and all that, but even with the county dump. And there's different dump locations, and we're working on some issues with California Department of Fish and Wildlife for land swaps and trying to keep the dumps going properly, do the right kind of testing and all that. And at the last CSD meeting when I was here, someone brought up the issue of they were testing their well, and they found, I think, E. coli or something like that. And it was a over-the-counter type of test. And I just got an email this morning that a couple of the people have tested their wells and found the same thing. And so I know that Lassen is already involved. I'm involved with LAFCO. LAFCO and your CSD have been working together to kind of, figure out basically how to do some of the procedural things that need to be taken care of. And I've really been impressed with your local CSD, that they have been responsive, even though there's been a lot of criticism, even some antagonistic people in the community at times. I've seen your local CSD actually rising to the challenge and not avoiding issues, but trying to take care of some stuff. And I think that's commendable. Does it ever happen fast enough? No. Is it, fixing everything right away? I wish. But I see them making the effort, and I've enjoyed watching that, and I commend you guys for that. Anybody have any questions for me just in general about the county or the Board of Supervisors, or how we can help you more? Okay, I'm done.
I'm out of here.
All right. We do have a couple gentlemen. Would you guys come up from code enforcement? And I was in the past, as we've talked about code enforcement issues, I've made it known that you can get the complaint form online. I've actually handed some out here for people that wanted to report things to code enforcement, start that paper trail and get things kind of going. And so I'll be handing this off to you guys when we get done. But if you guys want to introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
I'm David Joden. I've been in code enforcement now for 6, maybe 7 months. It's been fun. It's been real busy, especially Westwood. Been pretty good up here. We've been up here every few weeks. You've probably seen us a few months ago tow a couple of trailers out of here. So.
My name is Marco Gonzalez. I've been code enforcement going in 2 months. Like you say, it's a fun job. We don't mind doing the job, and feel free to talk to us anytime. So, cool.
Yeah, and basically we got a fairly new crew in code enforcement. In times past, there's been a lot of complaints about just the lack of responsiveness. But we've got new guys doing this, and they're learning a lot, but they're also very busy. And I really appreciate their efforts. But ma'am, you had a question over there?
A few years ago, we turned in so many of those forms with pictures, everything. Nothing happened. So if we have some new people here that are doing something, we can start putting those out again, because we have so many properties here that look terrible, that are a fire risk. It's awful. And it makes all of our properties for the people that live here worth less.
Well, we understand what you're saying, and I really do appreciate your comment. What I can say, coming into this job for the last year and a half, is I've been astounded at the lack of staffing and the lack of funding for the county just in general. And I'm sure you probably turned in a bunch of those forms, and there was literally no one there to read them. And but that's not the case anymore. We've got 3 people that are dedicated to doing what you're talking about. And I've seen these guys be very, very responsive in other parts of the county. And as we get the paper trail started again, I think that you'll see much more activity. And like he just said, they've already actually towed a couple trailers out of Spalding. So anyway, like a lot of things, it's working. Kathy, what's up?
All of the people that have like 5 or 6 vehicles in their car, giants that are abandoned, don't run. Are you guys going to be able to do anything with those?
Yeah, absolutely. Using Westwood as an example, this morning I just sent out 10 notices for vehicles that we'll be towing in about 2 weeks. So I give them about 10 days, but they have to be junk vehicles. They have to be dismantled. They have to be non-registered. A vehicle that looks junky but's running is registered, there's not much I can do. On top of that, you could have 2 vehicles on your property, unregistered, dismantled state, but they have to be behind a fence. I probably know some of the properties you're referencing. So, especially now that it's warmer, it's easier to get up here. I don't have to slide all over the road on the ice. You'll definitely be seeing us up here more often. And when you see us, wave us down. We're more than happy to talk, take down notes, let you know where we're at, at least as much as we can. We still respect people's privacy when we do put a case on someone's property, but we'll tell you, yes, we're working on it. You'll see an improvement, or I'll just tell you, hey, like this is where we're at. They're not quite in violation yet, but we have talked to them.
What is the process when you get one of these?
The process is when we get a complaint form, we try and schedule a day where we're going to go up there. We try to respond the day of. Areas like Bieber and sometimes Spalding are a little farther out for us, so it might take us a week to get out here, but usually it's the same day or day after. We'll come out, we'll photograph the property, we'll document license plate numbers if we can see them. And like I said, we're both pretty new to code, so we'll come back and we'll reflect code policy. We'll shoot it up our chain of command. There's still a bit of a leash on us because we're new. We'll shoot it up our chain of command and say, hey, this is what I believe. You're good. They'll green light it, and we start a paper trail. My personal preference is I like to go knock on a door. Say, hey, you have a code complaint. This is it. I believe this is valid. And I give them a few days to try and fix it. And then here's a courtesy notice saying, hey, please fix it. And then we start the more official forms. And if they don't comply, we set them up with hearing dates and fines.
Do you ever notify the person that sent us in that anything's going on with it?
There's times where we will reach out, depending on how busy our schedule is. Sometimes we don't always get to follow up. There was quite a backlog when I got into the job, and we're still working on that backlog as well as dealing with new cases. I have prioritized personally newer cases. It's easier in my work style to knock out the new cases and then just go back to 2025 and start working on those.
No.
This is a environmental health complaint form. This isn't a code enforcement complaint form.
So what does code enforcement? What's your job?
My job is to enforce county codes. Under, what is it, Title 18, I believe. And if you send me a complaint, and it's like, maybe it's like a building inspector's issue, I will forward that to a building inspector. You're like, if you send me a complaint and it doesn't fall underneath my area expertise, I'm not just going to let it die. I'm going to forward it on.
Want to know is the code and the form to file a complaint, is that online?
It is.
We're actually starting to see some success through code enforcement. One of the issues, like up in Westwood, I use that as an example because that's where we spend a lot of our time. But there have been several houses that are like slumlord owned. You know, they live in the Bay Area somewhere, and the houses get trashed and all that stuff. And in one particular case, it took a year through the whole process, but the county ended up levying fines and putting a lien on the property for over $17,000. And, you know, they appealed that. They came to the Board of Supervisors and with big crocodile tears and, you know, I couldn't fix this up because, and it, you know, they didn't get stuff in the mail. And the board actually affirmed, you know, or denied their request. And when it hit, it's really interesting the domino effect has had in Westwood because several of the homes that are under the process, all of a sudden there's dumpsters in front of them and people are cleaning up their stuff like, oh, they mean it, that they're going to get fined and it's going to stick. And so I think there's just even a few places like the one we got here today, a few of those people are going to see that things are actually happening. And that'll be a deterrent to hopefully some other people that need to clean up their act as well, without having direct code enforcement action upon them. And so I'm very hopeful to see how it'll improve the community. And I'm glad these guys are here to hear what your complaints are.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for the jobs that you're doing. That's a tough job, very, very tough job, especially to go up and address some of the complaints when you're not armed. It's frightening, and some of the people here are frightening. But I'm going to tell you, not in this room.
What do you mean?
But I will say something that if it hasn't been addressed yet, I know that some of the stuff's cleaned up. So when you going down Mahogany, if you just take a left onto Sycamore, I'm sure you probably know who Kevin Miller is, but there is a fence. His fence has razor wire on it and it's hooked to the light pole, and I'm the power pole, and I'm just kind of worried that when a fire happens, like in firefighters, like we're expecting our volunteer firefighters to address with razor wire before they can deal with the other stuff. I just wondered if that could get addressed sooner rather than later.
Yeah, just get with me when we're done up here and we'll talk. Thank you, Jerry.
Any other questions? To either or any? There you go. Come on.
Well,
Now's your chance.
Well, we thank you so much for sharing your concerns with us and just being here today. Appreciate that very much. If you, I can leave some of my business cards around if you need it, but you can get a hold of us a lot of ways. And like I said, when you call, we do answer the phone. When you email, we respond back. So I encourage you to do that if you need to. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I have one quick announcement before I turn it back over to Scott. Today we posted a special agenda happening tomorrow. If you're interested at 1 o'clock, we have a couple items that couldn't wait until the June meeting. So we'll be here at 1 o'clock tomorrow to discuss those items. If you'd like to partake in that, we'd love to have you. I'll turn it back over to Scott.
Thank you. That's all we have. Anybody has any questions on anything else, or we're all done?
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.